Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to do a video on the state of ASIC mining. This is for November 2024. And the reason we're doing one of these, we don't typically do a lot of generalized ASIC videos because we cover it so much. But in this case, we did hit a very pivotal point. We are beginning to pivot into the point where some of the ASICs are starting to increase in price significantly, right? We've seen ups and downs, 5–10%. Even recently we did that DOGE video. That's the one we're going to kind of focus on, and there was an extreme uptick in price this morning. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about our thoughts as to why, what's going on, how is the strategy going to change, does the mindset need to change. Okay, this is the real pivot. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on the ASIC mining ecosystem as a whole, especially leading into this bull market, which if you weren't bullish already, I'm sure you're extremely freaking bullish, and we'll talk about all that good stuff. Okay, so if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So we are extremely bullish. Again, Trump has won the presidency. A lot of things are falling into place, and just the sentiment overall is coinciding with the 4-year cycle. Okay, so BTC is currently in price discovery still. It's constantly breaking new all-time highs. Currently, we're at over $82,000. And the momentum and everything is only going upwards. Okay, so what does this usually cause? Causes prices of other assets to go up. Alts typically, especially right now, they are also going along with it. They're increasing significantly because of BTC's price action. So because of that, as a miner, how does that affect us? As the profitability or as the price appreciation goes up on these coins, profitability goes up on these ASICs, and then the prices of these ASICs go up. Okay, and historically what we've seen from closely following these prices for these past 2 years, it's usually fairly quick, and it does take a long time for it to retrace. Okay, in the case of what's going on right now, because we are where we're at in the market, even if things do retrace, right? We currently see the pump here with Doge. It's not very likely we're going to see these prices go down, right? Even if things do retrace, they go down 15–20% from where they're at right now. I don't think that's going to have much of an effect on price, because at this point, we know this is game time. We know these next 12 months are where the money's going to be made, right? These previous 2 years, things were different. The assets went down. So many people bought these things. Profitability was going down, etc., etc. The mindset needs to change here. Okay, it's very likely, as we've kind of been predicting and alluding to, the prices are going to start going up. And not only that, scarcity will also be a thing. These things will sell out, and that'll cause the prices to go up even more. In many cases, these manufacturers are also pretty smart. They may play the game where, yep, we're sold out, and that'll cause prices to go up even further, right? It's kind of the speculation and even just the mind games of things, right? We've seen this with different assets, with different coins, with different hardware. Even just the thought that it may become scarce will cause these things to go up, and it's going to happen, right? Like even right now with Trump talking about all these tariffs, even that narrative alone, whether it's true or not, in many cases, again, these manufacturers are going to find ways to avoid them. They're going to ship them from other locations. They do have warehouses in other places. They're going to find a way. But just the thought, if the majority think that something's going to happen, they're going to play on that theory, right? So prices can go up at any given point. Again, just like the crypto assets where we can have a 30–40% jump in a day, these ASICs can also go up that amount and even more after they sell out. Okay, so this is the thing that we had been alluding to just a few days ago, that this is going to eventually happen. It's going to happen in different phases. It's not going to be all of them all at once. It's going to be specific to the hardware and the coin. Like, for example, we're going to focus on Doge specifically. It has pumped immensely this past month, past 30 days, 158%, right? So we're kind of weirded out by the fact that the price hadn't gone up on the ASICs yet leading into the election, and I think it was just the uncertainty from the election. Depending on who won, was going to have at least an effect short-term wise on sentiment, profitability. Like, for example, The big thing with Doge is what? Elon, right? His Department of Government Efficiency, the fact that he's going to be in the limelight, in the spotlight heavily these next 12 months because of everything going on. Him just mentioning it is just going to keep it fresh in people's minds, and it's just going to pump it, right? If Harris would have won, probably would be seeing a different story here short-term wise. Long-term wise, Bitcoin is going to do its thing. The effect that of Trump winning was going to be more affecting the alts, okay, in short term and realistically also long term, okay. But Trump did win. We are here. We're focusing on what's happening now, okay. So because of this, what happened, right, and it's just continuing up, things can escalate quickly. So now the L9 is currently the most profitable unit. 24-hour revenue is about $50. In actuality, maybe even higher than this, just because people on Mining Dutch, mining all the other merge mineable coins, have been pumping and have been doing extremely well. Okay, but we can see all the top ASICs, as far as profitability goes, are all scrypt ASICs now, which is quite a change. So the L9, 17.6, profit, $42 a day. The Volk miner, which not the best buy in the world, not something I would personally recommend, $39 a day. The 16 gigahash model, which in reality this is the L9. I don't think the 17.6s have shipped yet. The 16 is at $37 a day. Have seen a few vendors do pre-orders for a smaller model, a 15 and a 15.5. So we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be other variants. Even the DG1 Plus is up here now because of this pump, and it's up to $31 a day. Okay, and then finally, number 5 is where we finally see the Lithium ASICs. Okay, so currently this pump is specific to Doge. Now that Trump did win, it's giving more confidence to the manufacturer. Time to jump these prices. Okay, and that's essentially what's happened. In case you haven't looked yet, again, we did that video just a few days ago regarding that new gold shell unit, the DG Max, and the probability that the prices were going to go up, as we did start seeing a little tweak then. Now that Trump's victory is here, everything is kind of settling. Market is extremely bullish. What happened? Prices have gone up fairly significantly. Okay, you can see the drastic difference. You go on Nhash's website. They're filling the FOMO also. What is front and center on this thing? Big ass Doge logo. Okay, so what ended up happening? Let's look at the L9 prices. Drastic differences. The current November batch for the 16 gigahash model, now 11 grand. It's not $81.99, $83.99, $85.99, $87.99. It is $11,000 now. Okay, the 17 gigahash model, $11,700. The January batch, this is the cheaper model. Okay, the 16 gigahash model, $9,400 now. Okay, it's not $6,100, $6,300, $6,800, $6,900. $9,400 now. Massive increase. Okay, and is this something that's likely to retrace? It's not going to go back to that $6,000 range. Okay, will it go down maybe a little bit? Honest opinion, absolutely not. Even if Doge does go down 10, 15, 20%, does have a retracement, again, these next 12 months, we know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen. They know it's going to go up. Okay, so again, and it's not just them doing it. We go to all the other manufacturers, all the other suppliers, vendors, stores, and it's the same story. Okay, look at BT miners. Their L7, they have a freaking $7,200. Okay, their L9, I believe this is the January batch, is $11,200. Okay, it's insane, man. These guys really went up, actually. Let's see. Yeah, it is the January batch, the 16 gigahash model, 11.3. What is the November batch? $13,000, bros. So theirs was a little more exaggerated. Believe they're even higher. Yeah, they're even higher than Miner Bros, which again, Miner Bros tends to be on the extreme high end. They don't even have the January batch listed anymore. They currently have the current batch at $11,000. Okay? And this is the thing. This is why you got to get in before the pump. Okay? You have to get in before it happens. Everybody likes to wait until things become profitable, and then they want to come in. That's when it's too late. Okay? That's when the prices have already gone up. It's kind of the same thing with the coins, even just with like BTC, right? when it's at 50, 60K not that long ago, not a whole lot of interest. Okay? Now that it's at 82 grand, now everybody and their mom wants to talk about it. That's just how people's mentality works. Who are the winners though? The ones who get in these times. The ones who got in during these times. The ones who got in at the lows when everybody's scared or nobody wants it. That's how you win. That's how you win the ASIC game also. The ASICs are also assets. This is the part that everybody tends to forget, is that there is, depending on the ASIC, depending on the timing, potential price appreciation with that ASIC, right? Even just the L9, for example. And you guys locked in at like 61, 6,200 bucks when it was at the low. Now 93, 99 for that January batch. If things go as we're predicting, may even be worth more than that. Okay, so even prior to getting the ASIC, you're already making money. People who got this November batch, again, the argument we were making for the November batch versus the January batch is that it's very possible that you're going to make more revenue in these 2 months than you would the savings you would have by waiting till January, right? Because at the time it was only a $2,000 difference. I think that theory is kind of proving out now. Okay, so, and again, the longer you wait out, when there's hype, maybe a lot of shenanigans happening. Could be delays or could be delays, right? But in reality, they could be selling these things for a lot more, right? Which is why a good chance why they're not even listing later batches anymore. Because they know they're going to be worth more. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky, bros. And it's not just these, right? It's every manufacturer. Gold Shell also tweeted this morning that they are increasing their prices. Theirs is a little more baity because, again, they're giving you a heads up of a few hours that, hey, it's going to go up in order to just sell more units. Okay, and are they as efficient, as good as the other ones? No. But is there still money to be made to an extent? We'll do a comparison here in a second. Right, and this is kind of a weird one. The whole DG Max thing, again, they had posted that tweet that they were kind of separating it. That was a one-off unit for a customer. And now even they're saying on here, market update, the surge in demand has outpaced our expectations. Product like the DG Max model, which is a custom product, are in high demand, affecting our supply schedule. If you only made it for a customer, why is it, so again, weird, because we know they're supplying it to all the other manufacturers, right? But regardless, again, price increases here. It's going to be all over, and it's going to be for every scrypt ASIC. Okay? And when we're talking about why, in general, right, we want the most efficient, we want the best, one thing to factor in, and this is going to be more of a thing with the smaller units. I wouldn't necessarily play this game with the bigger units. Because, again, for me, another part of where the mindset needs to change is that in certain cases, to make the most out of these ASICs, the time was these past 2 years, right? When we've been accruing, when everybody's saying, oh, it's not worth it, you're making 50 cents a day, blah, 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 blah. That 50 cents a day most likely is going to turn into the equivalent of 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 plus dollars a day, right? Which we've already seen it happen. We saw it with the K7. We've seen it with Caspa. You can go back last November, back when even like the KS3 was making 800 Caspa a day, which is a lot different now, right? It's going to be a lot different as things appreciate, right? You can even go back farther than that, back in the GPU days when you were mining way more than that. But from hodling all that, you took advantage of things. Okay, so for me, the big money, if that was your thing, like, oh man, I'm going to see if I can get one of these $4,000 ASICs and make 50, 60, 80, 100K from it, the window, in many cases, is kind of over for that, right? The name of the game now, if you're going to get into ASICs, like for me, this is a big part of the reason, the big boy ASICs, because of my strategy and my perception of things, kind of not going to be getting more. Unless, at least until I flip my own ASIC. I'm going to do a whole video regarding my own personal strategy later, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But a good example of where interest still will lie, for me at least, is some of the smaller ASICs, right? Even some of the ones that aren't as efficient, they can still be appealing, right? Reason being is that, again, the mentality needs to flip. The efficiency isn't going to be as important, at least these next 12 months. Okay, during the bear market, during those tough times, efficiency is key, right? That was the key, to not be at a loss, to be break even or better, etc., etc. This is where things are going to change, right? Because currently, as we look at the DG Home 1, right? Which is more efficient, definitely overall better, definitely more appealing, especially during the tough times. And now that things are looking better, it looks even better. Currently, this thing is now profiting $4.41. In contrast to Gold Shell's kind of unit, kind of the same space. It's more expensive and more expensive now, obviously, because they increased the price. But this one, definitely nowhere near as efficient, right? Massive difference in the efficiency. You can see the 0.3 joules the mega hash and 0.53, so massive difference. But because of Doge's increase, look at the profitability numbers. Okay, this one's making 550, this guy 449 a day. So currently the DG1 is more profitable currently. Okay, why is that? And it's because it's more powerful. Okay, yes, it's not as efficient, but again, when the price goes up significantly, it's all about the hash rate. Okay, so does this mean either one of these would be appealing? For me personally, this guy, absolutely not. Again, even with this mindset, the name of the game is still efficiency. This would be the most appealing guy to me also. But if you're a person with extremely cheap electric who wants to mine, these aren't going to be the worst things in the world if things kind of continue. Okay, for example, if Doge were to magically 3x from here, let's look at the contrast in potential profitability. Because we would 3x, again, not the profitability number. If Doge were to do, and again, this is going to be more of a generalized thing that you can apply to any ASIC. Okay, so currently at this point, if Doge were to do a 3x theoretically, right? Again, we're just doing theoretics. Your daily income, again, we're going to eyeball it, would 3x. So not the profitability. Okay, your profitability wouldn't go up to 12 bucks. The way it works is this is what would 3x. Okay, so this would go up to $18. This would remain the same. So you would subtract your $1.51. So it'd be $16.50 would be your daily profitability if that were to happen. If nothing else changes. Hash rate, difficulty, etc., etc. Again, this is just more theoreticals. $16.50 profitability, looking pretty good. So if this guy were to 3x, we'd go from about 10 bucks a day up to about $30 a day. Subtract your 432 for electric, so let's round it up big time to 5 bucks. Be about $25 a day. Okay, and that's where things kind of change in this market. Okay, now is it something that's going to last for a long period of time? Maybe, maybe not, right? If we go by the cycles, the peak will be in the fall of 2025. Could it happen earlier? Sure. Can it happen later? Also sure. Reality, we don't know, right? But my play, I would be projecting for those numbers. But what kind of protects you against that? Let's say the peak happens early. Let's say it happens in April or something. We have some kind of black swan and we just never recover. Which one is going to likely to do better long-term wise? The more efficient unit. Okay, so these are kind of the pros and cons. And for me, at least, while we're on this subject, if I'm going to buy any ASIC, any hardware, it's going to be something that I see value in beyond this cycle. Okay, so for me, scrypt would definitely be on the radar because it has been proven. It was profitable all of last bear market. Sometimes there were times where it was iffy though, right? Where it was very little. But again, the goal was break even or better, and it did its thing. Could the same thing happen here? Sure. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But that's what I would be eyeballing, is things that have a high likelihood of being profitable beyond this. So like things like scrypt ASICs, ETH hash ASICs, or even just some of these smaller ASICs, right? If there's something that has potential, regardless of what manufacturer, if the potential's there to potentially ROI this cycle, these next 12 months, and then flip them. Okay, the advantage with these little guys is that it would make it easier to buy 2 of them, speculate on them, say Doge or whatever coin is mining goes through the roof, the value of that ASIC now doubles, you can sell that one ASIC and the other one was essentially free, and you're just mining on your way. Okay, there's different strategies, there's different things. It's all on your viewpoint. It's not as simple as ROI. Again, to me, that's a losing strategy. It's a strategy that only works in the bull market, and the bull market in reality is so limited, right? It's potentially a 12-month thing. Does that mean, though, as soon as we peak, that prices are going to go down to bottoms? No, right? It's a year of downtrends after that. Just kind of depends on the coin, right? Doge was a very harsh drop. Bitcoin was kind of on and off. It did kind of drop harshly, but it was something that was slow trickle that was profitable, right? For example, a lot of us who were mining ETH back in the GPU days, we were somewhat profitable all the way until the merge, which was about a year later. Okay, so again, this is where we're talking about Doge specifically, but this is a general consensus or prospect or my viewpoint of ASIC mining as a whole. Okay, so for me, the strategy is definitely changing. Again, I'll do another video on specifically what I'm doing regarding all of this, what I'm doing with mine, what the plans are. So look for that maybe tomorrow or sometime in the next few days. Okay, so again, Doge was the first example of things pivoting, and I don't think going down from here. Maybe like 10% if we go like a few months stretch with things being in the negative, but reality, we know that's probably not going to happen based on the cycle, based on what has happened, what is happening, how bullish things are, how everything is lining up perfectly. Got to think about these things, bro. As we go down the list also, this is where things do kind of get tricky, right? It's certain ones have appeal still, and this is where it gets hard, right? For example, another one that would be eyeing would be like the AL1. So this is where it gets tricky though, right? Lithium has been kind of on a downtrend. It just depends on how bullish you are on this asset. To me, this is more on the speculative front. This is one that if it would have came out last year, extremely appealing, especially if it were in the price range where it's at currently, which is where it should have been at from the get-go. Extremely appealing because it's very speculative. Okay, right now in this market, the fact that we have these 12 months, may want to not go for speculative. You may want to go for where the profit's going to be. Okay, that's why the L9 for us as miners is extremely, extremely appealing. It's inflationary. It does hold up fairly well. It is a very large cap. It's not going to do something where it's going to drop 90% in a few days or drastically. Is that super likely to happen with the lithium? No, but it's possible. It's possible to go down 20-30%. There's a lot of negative sentiment with that going on right now. The difference here, though, is the speculative front, though. Again, tiny market cap, a lot of upside potentials. Is ranked number 440, 118 mil market cap. Can go up drastically. And again, things will look vastly, vastly different if a lithium does what we think it may do. If it does go up to 10 bucks plus in this bull market, it's going to look drastically different. But again, the winners are the people who are mining this thing now, who have been mining this thing the past year, who are mining this thing 2 years ago, back when it was, or mining or buying, I should say stacking this thing, right? You guys bought back here when it was under 20 cents for this super long period of time. If it goes up to 10 bucks, that's a 50x, right? And to me, again, not financial advice, but it's very possible. Not just something like, oh, you know, I hope it does happen. That's where my target is. You guys know how how much I lowball my targets, and it's between 10 and 15 bucks. Okay, so doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen. They could have some kind of hack, some kind of vulnerability, and it goes to zero also, right? This is where the speculation front, there is more risk, but there is more potential reward. But again, because of where we're at, the speculation ones become less and less appealing, at least on the big front, at least spending 10 grand worth, right? Spending 1,200 bucks on like the AL2 Lite, much more appealing, right? Especially potentially buying 2 of those, keeping one, flipping the other ones. That's similar to like the thought process with the AL0s. Will it happen? Maybe, maybe not, right? And that's kind of the risk to reward thing you're kind of playing, okay? Another big thing to factor with a lot of the other ASICs, right, is the age of a lot of them. Another thing we've been alluding to is a lot of them are due for replacements. Like even if you are on the speculation front, like, oh, I think CKB is going to continue to do well, Kadena is going to do well, Dash will do well, you know, Zcash, Zen will do well. A lot of these, the E9 Pro, for example, is also on that list. They are due for replacements. Okay, they are getting on the point, like the K7. I think February for me will be 2 years since we've been mining on it. Very overdue for replacement, as is the KA3, as is any of those. So that's why even if they do pump, even if CKB does 3x from here in a few weeks and the profitability looks good, same with the KA3. Let's say Kadena goes back up to $2. The profitability numbers will look good, and it's like, oh, okay. It's a hard prospect because it's extremely likely that a new unit may potentially come out in these next few months. Okay, and it's something we've kind of been predicting. My guess is Q1, Q2 at the latest. I would expect sometime like January, February, March to be a lot of replacements for a lot of these things. Okay, will it happen? Maybe, maybe not. In my opinion, that's where I'm looking at, right? That's why the focus for me, latest and greatest. I want to kind of minimize that risk as much as possible because, again, the real value with the ASICs, if you're able to mine on it long term, if you're able to accrue for a year and a half, 2 years without the hash rate going up massively, without competition. That's why stacking during this bear market was so appealing. The timing of those ASICs that I got into, that was the big appeal there. Okay, and for me, luckily, kind of worked. Okay, we're going to have to wait to see if we can reap the rewards come next year. Some of them did appreciate extremely early. That's the K7. Some of them have not materialized, but I'm still hopeful that they will materialize come next year. For example, with the Kadena, with KA3. And I have to wait to see. It's a lot of speculation, but luckily the winners that did happen already are making up for any of the other risks, right? Because in reality, we only need just one or two of these things to pop off, whether it's the ASICs, the coins you're buying, the coins you're stacking, and that can change things dramatically, right? But you're not going to know unless you're in there during the time when all the FUD is happening, when, oh, Alephium's a dead coin, Caspa's a dead coin, Doge isn't going to do anything. During those times, when the sentiment's like that, even on the GPU front, what did we hear these past 2 years? GPU mining's dead, blah, blah, blah. But when did we get into Caspa? When did we get into Alephium? During those GPU days, right? So like we mentioned, way back 2 years ago, the most profitable time to mine was going to be those times. We did specific videos talking about just that. That we're going to look in the future, we're going to look back at those videos, and we're going to be laughing because the yield was so great, and then we had the price appreciation that we were speculating on. It worked out, right? Caspa being the easiest example of that. Okay, but a lot of things to factor in here, bros. We're not going to get true clarity until these next few months, but in reality, like we've been saying, the name of the game has been being here these past 2 years. It's really hard to recommend a lot of these big boy ASICs now just because gonna have to wait and see. It's a lot riskier. Some of these will pan out though. Some of these will do extremely well. Like if you get in, potentially maybe it's the L1, maybe it's the scrypt ASICs, maybe Doge does go through the moon. Maybe some of these others, maybe Dash ends up coming out of nowhere, Zen comes out of nowhere, CKB does moon. Like, it's hard to say, right? And this is why you have to kind of place your bets. Hopefully you place your bets prior. For any guys who are new, just jumping in, it's a much riskier time. Is there money to be had though? Sure, right? Again, anything can happen here. I'm just playing my game, my strategy, how I see things, and we go from there, right? But it's kind of to each your own on this thing. To me, this is probably one of the more difficult times just because we don't know which one's going to pop the most. And at the end of the day, that's going to be the ASIC that's worth the most. I think that's the number one question to get. Oh, which one do you think is going to be most profitable? It's the one that mines the coin that's going to appreciate the most, right? So things like scrypt ASICs, while they're extremely bullish now, is Doge going to appreciate the most from here? No, right? Potentially maybe a 3x, right? That might be kind of pushing it. Versus things like the AO1, if Alephium does do that 10x, that 15x, that may be a winner here, right? It may not. Maybe Alephium struggles. Maybe it goes down, this AO1 goes down to 5K. And that might be a good prospect, right? There's just a lot of variables, guys. Just make sure you do understand mining, especially ASIC mining, is a degen play. It is a lot of risk with also a potential lot of rewards, right? It's the whole risk-reward thing. It's up to you to determine where you see the value. I like to update and where I see value, where I talk about things. Again, I'll talk about more in the other video I'll do here soon. But overall, guys, we are at that pivot point. Things are going to increase. Again, the time to buy, as we've been saying, was before. Get in before these increases. Who knows how much higher they go from here? Maybe they do dip a little bit, but it's going to be situational. We're not at the point where all of them are up. Right now, it is very situational with Doge. Can it happen with some of the others? Sure, but I think what is extremely likely to happen here, regardless of the price section of the others, I don't think we're going to see a lot of these go down. I think it's going to be up from here. Certain ones are only going to go up 5-10% versus others may go up 30, 40, 100, 200%. Okay, but again, it's not too late. It's just getting more difficult to make the most of it. Okay, so let me know in the comments, guys. What do you guys think? I know a ton of you guys made the comment. A lot of you guys did get into L9s. Congrats to you. The timing was excellent. Some of you guys got in right before the election. A lot of you guys waited till the Trump victory wasn't in place, and you guys hit that buy button, and good freaking play, right? You can literally get it. Hopefully they'll start shipping here in the next few weeks. Sell that thing at profit, right? It's going to make more sense to mine on that thing, though, because things are looking extremely good for L9s. But to each your own, right? But let me know in the comments, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I am out.